I want to bring in Congressman Jim Jordan, Republican from Ohio. He's on the House Ways and Means Committee. Congressman, welcome back to the show. It's always good to see you, sir.
Good to be with you,
especially at a time like this. Now, what's your comment on this possible hinted-at deal? Obamacare taxes on the wealthy stay, but taxes are cut under tax reform for individuals and for businesses. That's the outlines of a deal. Are you buying it?
Well, I mean, we got to see the whole deal because, look, we think all the taxes should be gone. That's what we sent out of the House. That's what we told the American people we were going to do. I'm more concerned about what happens with Senator Cruz, Senator Lee's amendment, which would actually give choice to consumers. The idea is if you offer one plan that complies with all the ridiculous Obamacare regulations, you can then offer other plans that consumers and patients and families actually want. That would be a marketplace. That would help bring down premiums for people in the small group and individual market. So I'm more focused on that being part of the legislation than the so-called tax issue. But we'll see what the final package looks like when it in fact comes back to the House.
Well, can you give us a progress report on how the Obamacare reform and repeal looks, both in the Senate first, of course, and in the House? How does it look?
Well, we'll have to see. We don't know what the bill looks like. There's talk of a redraft. Senator Graham's talking of a redraft. I tried talking with Senator. I missed Senator Lee this morning, so I haven't got an update from Senator Lee or Senator Cruz on what's happening with their amendment. So we'll just have to see. Well, what we do know is premiums need to come down for the American families, and that's what we were always focused on in the House, particularly the House Freedom Caucus. And we know the bill we sent out from the House, while not a full repeal, I'm always clear about that, was a good step in the right direction towards doing what the American people elected us to do.
But what's the sentiment? I mean, the pressure is clearly huge.
Yeah.
You know that you really can't walk away with nothing. I mean, that would be political suicide. Is there a general understanding that you got to do something and that something is better than nothing? That's my point.
Yes. No, I think there is that understanding. That's why 6 weeks ago the House Freedom Caucus called for us to be here in August. So it was good to see that Senator McConnell said that yesterday, that they're going to stay here till they get that done. But frankly, we got a lot of other things we got to get done as well. We got a budget, we got tax reform, we got border wall security, we got an infrastructure bill, all those things that we talked about in the campaign, not to mention a bunch of normal things that have to happen between now and September 30th, the end of the fiscal year. So the idea that we're going to leave for 5 weeks doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So it was good to see what Leader McConnell announced yesterday about at least the Senate staying here. We think the House should do the same thing.
You're on the House Judiciary Committee, I believe. Let's talk about what's happening on Capitol Hill right now. Christopher Wray, the president's pick for FBI director, is testifying before the Senate committee. Your reaction to what you've seen so far of Mr. Wray's performance?
Yeah, I haven't watched much of it, Stuart. We've been busy with some other meetings. What I do know is you can't have a Justice Department that's political. That's what we had in the last administration. It became really clear 3 weeks ago when James Comey testified and said he misled the American people at the direction of the Attorney General when he called the Clinton investigation a matter, not an investigation, which in fact it was. So think about that. When you have the Attorney General of the United States telling the FBI director, go out and tell the American public something that isn't true, that isn't accurate, that to me is the key thing. A Justice Department has to be focused on justice, not on politics. So that's the key change. I think Mr. Wray is going to be the kind of guy who will do that, focus on justice, focus on the facts, focus on the law, and administering that in an equal way across equal treatment for everyone under the law, which is the way it's supposed to work in our country.
Yes, sir. Jim Jordan, thanks again for joining us, sir.
You bet.
It was a pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Stuart.